The cafe was warm and golden with the scent of fresh bread and coffee, a quiet hum of morning chatter filling the air. The woman sitting by the window looked every bit like power and poise, a tailored navy suit, sleek hair pulled back, a watch that probably cost more than most people's cars. But behind that calm exterior sat a mother fighting a silent war. Beside her was a little girl, about 7, with soft brown curls and wide eyes that never met anyone's gaze. The child didn't speak, not even to her mother. Her name was Emily, and the woman, Caroline Walker, was one of the most successful CEOs in the city, yet in this one small, sacred corner of her life, she felt utterly helpless. For 3 years, Caroline had tried everything: therapy, doctors, special schools, private tutors. Emily hadn't spoken a word since the night of the accident, the night Caroline's husband, Daniel, was taken from them in a car crash. Emily had been in the back seat that night. She'd survived, but her voice hadn't. It was as if the silence had wrapped itself around her soul, refusing to let go. Caroline blamed herself, buried herself in work, and built walls of success around her guilt. But that morning, something inside her said to slow down. So instead of rushing to another meeting, she decided to take Emily to a small cafe they'd never been to, a quiet place on Maple Street that promised peace. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple Tales. Because sometimes, the smallest act of understanding can change a life forever. As they sat by the window, Caroline watched Emily pick at her muffin, her small hands fidgeting with the crumbs. The little girl's eyes wandered, curious but guarded. Then, just across the room, something caught her attention. A man in his early 30s sat with a young boy around her age. The boy had a joyful grin and was moving his hands quickly in the air, forming shapes, gestures, almost like dancing words. The man smiled back, responding with the same rhythmic movements. Caroline realized with surprise, they were using sign language. Emily's gaze locked on them, her muffin forgotten. Her eyes widened as if she understood something no one else did. The boy laughed silently, and his father ruffled his hair affectionately before signing something back. Caroline froze, her heart twisting. It had been years since she'd seen that spark of interest in her daughter's eyes. For months, Emily had barely reacted to the world. But now, she was transfixed, alive. The man noticed them then, his warm brown eyes catching Caroline's. He offered a polite smile before returning his attention to his son. The child looked up too, waved shyly at Emily, and signed something small, a simple hello. To Caroline's shock, Emily hesitated, then lifted her trembling hand and repeated the same sign. Her first response, her first connection. Caroline's breath caught in her throat, tears welling in her eyes. After that moment, everything changed. The man, whose name was Adam, approached their table when he noticed Emily's interest. He explained gently, using both his voice and signs, that his son Noah had been deaf since birth. They communicated entirely through American Sign Language. Caroline listened, both fascinated and humbled. Emily watched his hands like she was decoding magic. For the first time in years, she seemed awake, really awake. In the weeks that followed, Caroline found herself returning to that cafe again and again. Not because of the coffee, but because it had become a place where Emily smiled. Adam and Noah would often be there too, teaching Emily simple signs: thank you, friend, happy, mother. At first, Caroline was hesitant, unsure how much to intrude. But Adam was kind, patient, and had an effortless warmth that disarmed her usual reserve. Through him, she began learning sign language alongside her daughter. Each word signed felt like a brick removed from the wall between them. One evening, Caroline watched Emily sign, love, for the first time. It was small, shy, and beautiful. She'd been practicing it for days, Noah helping her until she got it right. Caroline could barely hold back tears. The weight of all her guilt, all her fears, seemed to melt away in that simple gesture. Adam smiled knowingly, as if he understood without words what that moment meant. As the months passed, their connection deepened. The cafe became a safe haven, where silence spoke louder than noise, where grief slowly transformed into hope. Caroline found herself opening up to Adam about her past, the accident, her guilt, her daughter's silence. Adam listened without judgment. He shared his own story, how Noah's mother had left when he was just a baby, unable to handle raising a child with hearing loss. He had been alone since then, learning, struggling, and yet always smiling. Sometimes life doesn't give us what we want, he told her once, signing as he spoke. It gives us what we need to grow. One cold winter morning, Caroline arrived at the cafe to find Emily sitting with Noah and Adam, laughing silently, really laughing, for the first time in years. She was using signs fluidly now, her hands moving confidently. Caroline stood by the doorway, unable to move. It was as if the world had stopped, letting her finally breathe again. The CEO who once commanded boardrooms and built empires now stood powerless before the purest victory of her life, her daughter's smile. From that day on, Caroline's priorities changed. She took fewer late meetings, spent more evenings at home, and started volunteering with organizations that supported children with communication challenges. She even helped fund a program that offered free sign language classes for families, something she named Voices of Light, in honor of Emily and Noah. The bond between the two children only grew stronger, and through them, Caroline and Adam found healing they hadn't known they needed. Months later, at the program's opening event, Caroline gave a short speech, the most emotional one of her life. She didn't speak alone. Standing beside her was Emily, signing every word her mother said. For a long time, Caroline said softly, I thought silence meant loss. But now I know, silence can also mean strength. It can mean love. My daughter didn't lose her voice. She found a new one. The audience was in tears. Adam stood in the crowd with Noah, smiling proudly, his eyes glistening. After the event, he walked up to Caroline and signed something simple but powerful, you both saved me too. That night, as Caroline tucked Emily into bed, her daughter signed 3 words she'd never dared before, I love you. Caroline broke down, pulling her close, whispering through tears that she loved her more than anything. It was a moment no amount of success or wealth could ever equal. If this story touched your heart, if you believe in love, compassion, and the power of human connection, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Ripple Tales for more stories that remind us how kindness can change lives. And before you go, comment below, love speaks in every language. Let's fill the comments with hope and light, because even in silence, love finds its voice.